Welcome to another video by Pharos Technology. Today I want to tell you how to have macros that physically make decisions based on input from your forms. So let's get started. For this one, I'm going to actually show you two different issues or ways that we can set up accessing essentially the same information. The first way is just going to be the simple, straightforward way that you probably could think of yourself easily. So I have a report menu here, and the report menu details out whether I want to set it to print preview mode or I want to set it straight to the printer. The default I've set in this frame view here is to have it print preview unless the user changes it. Now, as part of that also, I've got a contracts report, a products report, and a sales report. So it'll print this contracts report here, or this products report, or this sales report, okay? That means that I've got 6 possible choices here based on the 2 choices I have up top here and the 3 choices that I have in the buttons. How do I make a macro decide from the user input here what information is important there to print the proper report from the macro? So let's take a look at that. So I come down here to this report menu macro and I'll put it in design view. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to make a sub macro for open contacts. So if I look here and I put this in design view, it'll let you see that my event here is to run the sub macro open contacts. So here I have the sub menu open contacts. So I'm going to set up a simple if-then statement that says if the frame value equals 1, I'm going to send it directly to the printer. Okay. If the frame value is 2, I'm going to send it to print preview. Okay. So at that point in time, I've got basically 3 cookie cutter options. Those 3 cookie cutter options are a sub macro to run reports, and I'm going to check the frame to see if it's got a 1 value or a 2 value. And then I'm going to run the appropriate report either to the printer or to print preview based on the frame view value there. So simple if-then statements inside my sub macros that are driven by 3 separate buttons. Okay. So that's one easy, very straightforward way to set up a reports menu. Now, let's show you an enhanced way to do it. So I'm going to close both of those, and I'm going to open my report menu enhanced. Okay. The biggest thing you'll notice on this is that I still have the same frame view here, a little different shape, but it's the same frame view. I have a text box here that tells which report I want to run. Now, I could also have this be a drop-down list driven by a small table so that I show the person that I'm running a contracts report in landscape or the products report or the sales report in portrait, instead of giving the raw sort of view here, just by managing my combo box better. But at this point, it's just a list. It's hard-coded, and it's just there for the purposes of this report. So, and then I have a run report button that then goes to my enhanced macro here. So let's put this in design view. Now this one sets a little bit of a different tone in going forward. It's much shorter because I don't have 3 sub macros. In fact, I don't have any sub macros at all. The first thing I do is set the temporary variable of report name to report enhanced combo box report. Okay. And I ask which view it is by referencing the frame view. So all I'm doing is going and saying my combo box has what value and my frame view has what value. Now let's come down here to my if-then statements. If it equals 1, then I'm going to open the report and I'm going to send it to print. Okay, remember 1 is the option for print, 2 is the option for print preview. Okay, I then have the report name here, sending it to print, And this is only going to print that report name if it's a 1 and this report name if it's a 2. So here I've got both options covered. I've got all 6 options actually covered by 2 temporary variables, and then those 2 temporary variables resolve into 2 possibilities for the frame view, 3 possibilities for the combo box, and then down here I remove that temporary variable, report name and report view. Now, do understand temporary variables in macros are global variables. And so the reason you want to deconstruct them at the end is to make sure that those global variables don't stay defined for the entire running of the program, even when they're not trying to do this report. Now, these are small variables, probably wouldn't make much of a difference, but it's just a good practice to deconstruct your variables at the end of your macros, especially because they are global. So now you've seen 2 different ways to approach the idea of having multiple decisions that can be executed in a frame view, and a combo box in one case and in separate buttons in the other case. Now, being on separate buttons, it's less elegant in the macro, but it's very straightforward to the user. In the drop-down combo list, you have the flexibility of going to the system objects database to find your report objects and just list all of your reports in that combo box. And this method of doing it then would be far superior to doing it with multiple buttons. It gives you the flexibility of creating more reports and them automatically being picked up by this particular form and ready to print or print preview. So I hope you've gained some value out of this. If so, please hit that like button and let's get it out to more people. Otherwise, please, subscribe and come and watch the rest of the great videos that I'm going to be putting out on a regular basis coming in the future. Thanks.